Happy New Year, everybody. 2025, January 6th, and it is a historic Canadian day, and not because our gutless leader decided to resign and hold us hostage for another few more months. It's because we got an up-and-comer comedian swinging through on tour, performing a bunch of shows this week over at the Comedy Cave, and we'll let the viewers know how they can get to see him over there. But Adam Tiller, welcome.
Thanks for having me on, dude.
Hell yeah. Love it.
So what happened today? I just woke up like half an hour ago. So
so you didn't
I thought you were referencing our January 6th, which was a pretty big moment for our country, too.
Just a bit. Yeah, it's kind of like, our Trudeau resigned.
Wow.
This morning, and I smash on politics all the time on there. I'm sure you see, so we don't need to do all that shit, but he did resign today, so it is like, and then he's doing something what's called proroguing Parliament, which is like pausing Parliament until March 24th or 21st or something. So he stays on until then, and then they have an election to bring in a new Liberal leader, like the States did not do, no primary. Okay. So the Liberal, essentially it's just like fucking us even further for his own narcissistic filling his ego. That's how I feel.
It enough to really have an opinion on either side, but just to do it at 8 o'clock in the morning, that's pretty early. I there's no way I would have been up for that. Like,
no, Well, it's funny that you didn't know. But I mean, why would you though? Too, I mean,
I barely have. I don't even think I have cell service up here, so I'm like, 5 hours behind on everything.
Right. Yeah.
Just check it in.
Well, so you flew in right from, so you reside over in Everett, right?
I'm in Seattle now.
Oh, you're in Seattle now?
Yeah,
oh, cool.
I moved from Everett because I was working. I had a day job in Everett. Yeah. And then I quit that to do stand-up full-time and moved in with my lady in Everett, or Seattle.
Oh, yeah.
And new places. It's all right. It's next to a adult movie theater.
Oh, to like a porn, like a theater?
Yeah.
Like you go in and watch porn.
I haven't been in myself.
Oh.
But my patio overlooks the entrance and exit to the theater.
Really?
So it's just dudes.
Dudes in trench coats and just no pants.
Going. They're open 23 hours a day.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't think they had these theaters in existence anymore.
I mean, if you ever want to come check it out, I'm sure you're welcome to. It's the crazy thing is it'll be 7 o'clock in the morning and someone's going in there.
What? Night shift.
Pre-work or
night shift, gotta get some stress off at the end.
I don't know. But I've basically only seen dudes going in there. Every once in a while there's some ladies that go in, but
the odd one.
From what I have a buddy who has been in there, and I guess it's like four movie screens in there. They're just firing up all kinds of
just free street
drugs and just
go time.
Guys having fun with each other.
This is a red light district, it sounds like.
Yeah,
right? Almost.
I think it costs $10 to get in. So be like 15.
Don't even need that if they just get a pay-as-you-go phone and go on the internet.
I don't know.
Download your 1 minute
thing.
Okay, so but you're like you said, you flew in. Obviously you're touring. I mentioned the Comedy Cave. People can see you over at the Cave January 6th starting tonight till the 11th.
Yep.
How can people see you? There's a promo code. What's the code?
Code is Adam33. It's good for Monday through Thursday shows.
Yeah,
it'll get you 33% off.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's also on the show. I know it's like local folks from Calgary, but the owners there are super nice.
Yeah.
It's like a family operation, and food's really good, and have had fun at every show that I've been there. So I was there in April, and they asked me to come back. So I've been doing a bunch of stuff in Canada this fall.
Yeah.
And I was like Castlegar, Squamish.
Oh man, yeah.
Penticton.
Yeah.
And
all the hot spots.
Dude, your roads are nuts up here.
Well, especially out there, like Penticton and on the way out there, it's crazy. Fucking bonkers.
I hit a snowbank going like 70 miles an hour. It was just left in the middle of the freeway.
Right.
Just the plow just left a snowbank.
We're good.
It was insane. And I'm sitting there like I got no cell service, nothing. And my buddy was trailing me in his car because we drove separate.
Yeah.
So every 15 minutes I had to go turn roaming on and call him and be like, watch out for the bison in the middle of the road. I don't know what it's the only thing you guys have posted. There's no turn signals or anything like that. It's just 100 maximum is 100.
100 and the odd Animal Cross heads up, but go 120.
Rarely you even get that.
Yeah.
No, ice on the bridge, anything like that.
No, we're just used to driving sideways all over the place. It's in the ice, man. Yeah.
I mean, your truckers, I don't know what they got on those rigs.
They're brutal. They're bad here, for sure.
What are they doing to even have traction like that? Because they're going 120 and ripping past you and just...
Oh, they don't care. Yeah, dart in the mouth and they're flying. I know.
They must be flying on something besides coffee, too, because the speed and intensity, it's just out of control.
Yeah, they're bonkers here. Yeah, it's a problem, I think. I don't know. I'm sure they're still bad in the East, too, in Ontario and stuff, but they're really bad out here. And the roads are treacherous, like you saw. They're super windy and mountains, and it's crazy.
Yeah. The only saving grace I had was I knew what it was in Washington, so I was able to just be like, okay, so if I'm, 250 miles north of here, this is what I should be expecting in this little patch at least.
Right, yeah.
So when I go through Snoqualmie Pass, it's about to get gnarly in that part.
Yeah, you know when it's gonna,
Yeah, it sucks. Oh, man. It's
brutal.
It was fun. The shows were good. Every show I've ever done in Canada, the audiences have been down.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I mean, sense of humor is always there. They push back a little bit on dark stuff.
Yeah.
If it gets too kind of mean-spirited or whatever, but...
Well, we're too nice.
Yeah, that's just part of it.
But it's kind of weird, though, too, because I think about, all my buddies and how we hang. We all have the dark side, and we love the offside jokes and going too far, but there's always, someone in the crowd, I suppose, that maybe, whoa, take it easy there.
I think it's probably more in Eastern Canada from what I've heard.
Yeah. You got your radar on just to catch all the bad shit.
Yeah, anytime I have, a little bit of anxiety being around equipment like this, because we did so many episodes where we would record it and then afterwards be like, oh, that mic wasn't on.
Oh my God, dude. We were talking about it earlier. Maybe you mentioned Aaron Volpatti, right?
Yeah.
You watched that one? Mm-hmm. I talked to him for 45 minutes and the fucking thing wasn't on. We had to go back and repeat. Well, and then we just, you ad-lib and we were talking about whatever after. But
you're just pretending to hear it for the first time.
No way. You said that earlier. I mean, what? Yeah. Well, well, tell us about that. I mean, let's tell us about your path. I do look back and you've had that podcast for a long time. Yeah. You did 200 or 300 episodes or
I don't
you
know.
Did a lot.
We did some in the hundreds.
Hundreds. Okay.
I think we stopped at 100, but
did you? And where did you?
Just in my place.
Yeah, your place.
Yeah, which is on the YouTube. You can very much see. It's like an empty apartment, but
yeah,
it was fun. It was something I started right when I started stand up, so go back, maybe do some things differently. But interviewed a bunch of people. Podcasting, I think we were talking ahead of time. If you don't really love it, it's a lot of work, and
you have to enjoy it. You got to really like it. Yeah, because no one's going to say I want to go talk to people I don't even know, or and be able to talk.
Sure, and stand up, at least for me, it's I get to see the response right away.
Yeah,
podcasting is I guess there's YouTube comments, and every once in a while, you got crumbs on your face or something. It's not. There's very little positive reinforcement.
No, yeah, I always get hung up on the negative comments.
Oh yeah.
What the fuck you?
It's just it's difficult. So I mean, I think it's also not to dissuade you, but it just seems it's very saturated. So.
Oh, it is saturated now. Yeah. I mean, I've said it here before. I kind of started because I didn't mean to come behind the mic, but looking back, I kind of always did want to. And I actually wanted to do stand up at one time. I just told literally no one.
Yeah.
Because I liked my audience in the locker room.
Sure.
I decided I'm good in small settings and parties and whatever, but I used to write bits and shit, but I would like in the pocket and no one ever saw them. Never saw the light of day.
Well, if you want to get up tonight, you probably can.
Fuck, could you imagine? Oh my God. I did get thrown in one years ago.
You went out?
Yeah. My buddy Kevin Powell, no longer with us, but he threw me right under the bus.
Where was it?
It was in we were in Wichita. We were playing hockey in Wichita, Kansas, for the Thunder. And there was like
You were at the Funny Bone?
No, it was not a comedy joint. This is the thing. It was so we played professionally or semi or whatever you want to call that, the Central League. And there was like a booster night. Like all the fans come out and you sign, and they're like the hardcores that follow you. You know, a lot of them are pretty rough looking, but they're hardcore, right? So, and him and I just said, yeah, we're not going. We don't want to go. So we went somewhere else, got pinned, had a bunch of drinks, and then we were like, well, we should probably go make an appearance. So instead of going in the front door of this, and there's like, I think 200 or 300 people, we go in what we thought was the back door, but it was a stage to like an auditorium. I would say it's like a community hall.
Okay.
So there's like a stage. We came on, and we're getting, we've got a bunch of drinks in us, and then he sings a little Harry Connick and do a little funny dance, and they laugh, and then he's like, and Tuxie's got some stand-up, and he threw me the mic. And so it was tough. It was hard, but I think I would do better at improv than versus say what you do, I feel. Like, because you're set. You've got a set, I would assume, right?
Yeah. It's
So, how long have you been in stand-up? When did you get into it, and how's it going?
It's been like 7 years now, almost.
Yeah.
I think April will be 7 years. And I had a weird development and trajectory. Like I got in at clubs in Seattle pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Laughs Comedy Club is like my home club, and we also have 4 or 5 different clubs in the region, so you can get a lot of stage time. And you know, in general, working comics tend to want to be on stage a lot. Like it's
right. And you do, right?
Yeah,
you do.
And it's like game experience or whatever. Like
sure.
You're a professional athlete or something, like
you want to play,
practice and you want to play.
Yeah.
There are some people that don't.
That don't like it or don't like to be up that much on stage.
Practice.
They don't
like it. It's
right.
And surprisingly do quite well regardless.
They're just gifted.
So, gifted, or I think their process is just slightly different. I'm somebody that I like being up a lot. It's hard though. I mean, it's
sure.
Especially as I've progressed to where I'm at right now, I'm doing a lot of shows, but I'm not living as much life like outside of stand-up.
Okay.
So it's hard to generate new shit.
Right.
Because you're just like, what am I going to talk about? The condo that I stayed in last night?
You're kind of always looking for whatever that turns you or makes you laugh or you think will make people laugh, right?
I did crazy shit before stand-up, and it's kind of normalized my life a little bit. So it's I'm not doing as much of that stuff.
Yeah.
But
you got to create on the road, I would assume. No? Or
yeah, I mean, you try to, but it's also, there's like I mean, you don't want to have just material about hotel rooms and airports.
It's got to be pretty damn funny.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I'm always looking, but there's also just like a fatigue element, and you're like, I'm trying to find sort of a happy balance with that, because I drove 40,000 miles last year.
Jesus.
Just went everywhere I possibly could, and that was great experience. But by the end of it, I'm like, I don't want to be a trucker.
No, you're also a driver.
Yeah. It's, I mean, and it's the aggregated risk of just, driving that much is terrifying. I had a buddy roll his car. I drove 11 hours that day. He drove 15 minutes and he rolled his car. I don't know how that happened.
That's how the gods are funny that way. Yeah. Well, so do you like your shows? Like how have they progressed? And do you, like, when you decided I'm going to be a comedian, like how did your first one go? Let's put it that way. How did your first one go? And Do you remember how your first one went, or?
Yeah, I mean, there were a couple of firsts.
Right.
Like first time on stage, and then first time doing a show, and
Yeah.
first time I ever hosted at a club was pretty funny. I never hosted anything in my life, and I mean, you're with me. Like, I don't have host energy, right? Like, I can host a show, but I'm not the guy that, like, when I walk in, I'm like, "How's everybody doing?"
On a unicycle.
I'm shy, you know, and that's not always common with comedians. Most of the time, they're like extroverted and shit. And before the show, like, the guy told me 5 minutes ahead of time, he's like, "You're hosting." I don't even know what that means. And I go up there and I'm like introducing this comic who I've later like hung out with, and we talked about it, laughed about, but his name was Yadoye Travis, and he was from New York.
Yeah.
And I knew what his credits were. Like, he had been on Comedy Central and some other shit, but when you bring up the headliner, like, the one thing you can't fuck up is their name. Like, you
cannot
butcher everything. What you can say, they were on, you know, Colbert, or say it wrong, whatever. But if you say their name wrong,
that's not good.
That's what you're getting paid to do.
That's your job. Yeah.
So the first time I was up there, I was about to bring him up, and I blanked on his name. And I think I had it on my hand, but I can't remember exactly, but I'm trying to stall. And I was like, "Are you guys ready for your headliner?" And crowd's going crazy or whatever. And I was like, "He's been on Comedy Central. He's been on Conan." The very famous and popular Yadoye and it came, and I
you got it.
I got it, but I said that he was famous and popular, which I don't think I've ever seen anybody ever bring up anyone on stage.
No,
He comes up,
odd statement.
and he looks at me as I walk off stage. He's like, "I gotta address something right now. I'm not famous or popular. I don't know what that was."
What the hell was that?
And then I spent an hour, just being in the back of the room, like, God,
beating yourself up.
Yeah.
But it probably came off pretty funny coming from you, because
I was so new.
You're kind of deadpan too, right?
Yeah.
So it probably was pretty funny.
I think so, but I mean, you gotta learn somewhere, and I was very lucky and fortunate that I was put in a situation where the club that I was working at, they invested in me. They saw that I wanted to do this, and and they still do. It's I was just there this past weekend, and
they support you, and
and that's not super common in entertainment.
It's not. Hey,
I mean, most clubs want somebody that's established.
Sure, because that brings the money.
Yeah, I mean, they just want professionalism and shit, but it takes a lot of time and energy to get somebody to that point. And they vouched for me. Or like, I opened at a theater 10 months into doing stand-up, and
holy shit,
it was nuts. Doug Stanhope came to town, and they had ties to him and fucking opened for him. And I had no idea what I was doing, man.
Sure,
it was nuts, but.
Were you shitting your pants?
The whole day. I was supposed to go to the show that night. Like, I'm a huge Stanhope fan, and I get this call, and they're like, "Hey, what are you doing tonight?" I'm like, going to the show. Like, "No, you're not. You're on the show." And I was like, "What the?"
You're like, "Well, that's what I signed up for."
Yeah.
Too, I suppose, right?
I mean, at 10 months in, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Shit. I got very fortunate, but made the most of it. And
you must have had buddies. I mean, being funny is a weird thing, right? Like, so you must have had buddies that encourage you, or like, you know how to get a laugh out of people, whether it's slapstick, falling down, or one-liners, or whatever your humor is. You must have known somewhat that the reception was good, that you were funny.
I think I was around a lot. Like, I'm not the funniest person that I know from growing up. Like, I was around some really funny.
Yeah, it helps, right?
And hockey players.
Yeah.
Growing up playing hockey,
mm-hmm.
I mean, we'd be shit-faced, and then having to wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock because we played horribly, and we're in the consolation game, and we all smell like Jaeger on the ice and shit. Like, I just had a lot of very stupid friends. And we got in a lot of, trouble together and all that shit. But I think it rubbed off on me.
Sure.
Maybe I'm more of like the mechanism to get that type of humor out, but
Right.
I mean, a lot of those guys are super funny.
Super hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. I know a ton of hilarious dudes too, where you say things like, man, you got to take that on the road, or you got to elevate your act, or whatever it is, you know?
I mean, how long did you play for?
I mean, I did identify as a hockey player. Like I grew up wanting to be the hockey guy. And this is why I think it's kind of funny that I used to think about doing stand up or something on TV or something. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be like performing in some form, but I was a hockey player and I was like really good at a young age, not being a cocky dick. I was good young, and then I carried it all the way to, I played major junior, and then I played for Team Canada for a little bit.
Shit.
The Olympic program, I never got to play in any big tournaments, but I went pretty far, and I won a national championship, university, so I had a good career.
What university?
So in Canada, Acadia, it's called Acadia University, and we were ranked number 1 in my years, and we won a national championship.
Saying this all so subtly. Like, we were number 1 in the country.
We were just number 1, and
what position did you play?
Yeah, I was a forward. I was center for most of my life, and then I moved to the wing.
Yeah.
Coaches used to tell me, like, you're a winger. I'd be like, no, I'm a center. No, you're a winger.
Right or left?
I play right.
Yeah.
Right wing, yeah.
You're right-handed, obviously.
Right-handed, right wing, and you get more goals on the wing, right? Yeah. The center is the setup guy. So you're a hockey guy, right? You say you grew up in...
I mean, my relationship with hockey is very strange because both my brothers played,
they did
way better than me. My younger brother was good.
Yeah.
Like the guys he was playing with are now playing like juniors or in the NHL.
Or in the NHL, yeah.
And he had a pretty terrible injury that, like, basically he could still play if he wanted to, but
it was bad enough.
Mentally, I think it created a block for him. Like,
oh, okay.
I think he was like, I was 17. I was hammered that night.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a phone call that was like, your brother's in the hospital. We might need you to drive down to the hospital. Like, I'm shit-faced.
No Ubers.
No Uber. I mean, it was Minnesota, January or something. We were playing broomball.
Broomball, yeah.
And we were just drinking the whole way through.
Sure.
I think I was hooking up with some girl that night or whatever. My dad calls me. He's like, this is serious. And I had no idea what that meant. I was too trash.
You were too gooned, yeah.
But he's like, stand by. And what happened was he was playing and he was making a play on the boards. And he had his stick, and the end of his stick got caught in between the board and the ice. So just the very bottom.
Yeah.
And some guy came up behind him, checked him from behind, and it harpooned underneath the chest protector and hit his pancreas.
Right.
So they didn't know if they thought he could die.
Sure.
And
so
my dad called me like, hey, we might need you to come pick up some stuff, bring it down to the hospital, whatever. I'm like, I can't drive. like I just started pounding.
And I'm partying.
Yeah. And luckily they didn't need me to come down, but it was like one of those nights where I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Like, not that I should have known or whatever.
No,
it was.
Yeah, you were just. Yeah, it was like kind of like a wake up. Maybe there's more important stuff out there than getting trashed.
I mean, it didn't stop me. But
no,
it was certainly like a fucked up situation. But he never really like played the same way after that. But
that's a gross one. Yeah, and I had a buddy who had the same thing in minor hockey. His name is Casey Kessering. Shout out to Case. And then we played together out at Notre Dame, which is a prep hockey school in Saskatchewan. But when he was a kid, same thing. He got not impaled, I guess. Same thing. He went into the boards and it went his guts, but like apparently it tore like some of his intestinal, like his stomach tubes had burst, and like part of it wrapped around his spine and like pulled his, I don't know, it was just like gnarly. But he actually he came back from it, and actually his son is playing for Utah this year, like as a rookie.
Damn.
Like Kessering, but Case was a really good player, but I just remember it was a gross injury.
That sounds
awful. Oh my God.
Wrapping around your spine, dude. Like,
he's probably going to correct me after, but
yeah,
I'm exaggerating it. No, that's how I heard the story. I remember, but
Yeah. The one that always terrified me, and I mean, it's like low hanging fruit, but it's like the guy that goes down and gets the skate across the neck, like that. What
Clint Malarchuk.
Yeah.
Right? You remember the Clint Malarchuk?
Yeah, he gets off the ice and he's just holding it.
Yeah, and he, I was watching that game live with my dad, like on TV, and the goalie, it's awful. It was terrifying. But
and this was, what year was this? 2000 something?
No. He was like, this was like the 80s.
Really?
Clint Malarchuk. Yeah, he played for the Sabres. I'd have to get the date right, but pretty sure it was the 80s because I was a kid, and then he got cut bad. And it was all over the ice, and they didn't cut like to a commercial or anything. They showed the whole thing, and the trainer, he writes about it in his book, the trainer came on the ice, and because he had served in Vietnam, he actually pinched his jugular, like put his hand in his throat and saved his life. I mean, it's disgusting. It messed up Clint Malarchuk. He was depressed the rest of the day. He had issues with depression. This is depressing, right? Yeah, terrifying.
Yeah, the thing that resonated with me was it's just like the resolution is so bad on that you're trying to watch and you're like, what am I even seeing right now? Because it's just color just hits the screen, and then you're like, that's blood.
This is not normal.
Yeah.
And why am I watching this sport?
Yeah, I like. And both my brothers played.
Mm-hmm.
How I got into hockey was I went to the first ever Wild game when they.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Minnesota. Yep.
And I was there, Darby Hendrickson, like the first goal for the Wild at home. And I saw it and I was like, this is fucking awesome. I played football at the time. I couldn't skate.
Right.
So I was 12 or 13 and I was like, I got to play. So I signed up like.
Huge in Minnesota.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. And all those kids had 12 years of me. So the only thing I could do was basically hit. I had no coordination. But I had some great friends, and over time, like I pieced enough together to where I could like hang out. But I was a garbage hockey player.
Yeah,
I could, they put me on the right wing, and one year I think I had 28 goals, but it was just slapping in garbage shit.
Garbage goals. Those guys existed.
Oh yeah,
they made careers out of it.
Yeah, just screening the goalie,
get in front.
I couldn't skate backwards. I couldn't, the worst injury I ever got was basically because I couldn't skate worth shit. Was I was on a fast break, goalie dove to like poke it, the puck. I jumped over him because he had poked out, and when I went to stop, my skates were dull. I didn't have like sharp skates for that game. It was a tournament or something, and it was like day 3, and you're like, I'll get him fucking
whatever after.
Yeah, and caught a edge, went down full speed into the boards, feet first.
Oh, feet first. Oh, yeah.
Broke my ankle on impact. Yeah, the sound I made was we have video of
you
it.
Still remember you have the video?
My dad's videoing it, and you hear me, and I it's the craziest noise. And
like a gargle or like a scream, or
it sounds like a wild animal. It's very feminine, and my dad, he's got the camera going, and then as soon as I hit the wall, the camera just drops, and you hear it for like a second.
You hear the squawk or whatever it was, yeah. But it was bad.
It was horrible. They got me off the ice. It put me in the penalty box.
Yeah.
And there was this fucking kid on the team that, not the brightest guy, always like very sweet, but, saying the wrong thing at the wrong time or whatever. And you're in so much pain, like an impact injury like that. It was probably the worst pain I ever felt.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. I think they tightened my skate just to keep everything like in place.
Yeah.
And this kid looks at me like I can barely breathe. I'm sitting in the penalty box waiting to get out of there. And he's like, well, at least you get to ride in the ambulance. That's
cool.
Like, I could have taken my skate off and fucking got it. I was so mad at at that point. But yeah. And then I, everything, once I got morphine, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, then you're fine.
Yeah.
For a bit.
It's but that's
a bad injury, yeah. Yeah, well, it's a crazy sport if you think about it. Like it's you're on blades, you got to figure out how to use the stick, and it's full contact, and it can take your head off, and They're trying to clean it up now, it seems, anyway. But now it's kind of, I feel like it's getting a little soft.
I haven't been watching it. I mean, my peak for NHL was like when Balfour was playing for the Stars, and my brothers liked the Avalanche a lot. So
Sure,
like Law and all those guys. So I haven't been following it as much. I check. I mean, you guys watch it up here like it's.
It is our religion. It just is. Maybe not for everybody. I mean, maybe not Victor, the younger. It is huge. It's kind of like first on a lot of people's minds. I do have it's funny, all my hockey buddies that I played with, that a lot of them played really high level, they're all like hardcore NFL junkies.
Yeah.
And I kind of like only started getting into NFL like last 5 years more.
Really?
I just never did. I just was always, and a lot of people are, it's just first hockey.
What?
Why?
I guess what would you compare it to? Because I feel like it's almost like baseball in the States, where
it's like a
these hardcore
pastime.
fans.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I mean, I went to, even at the Comedy Cave, there's a section that it's divided in two. So we have a club on one side and then a restaurant on the other.
Yeah, I've been in there. Yeah, quite a few times. Yeah.
It's just like all these TVs, and it was NBA playoffs, which people watch in the States. Like, this was back in April, and there were, I think, like 12 or 14 TVs, and 13 of them were on hockey games.
Oh yeah, they want the hockey first. It just is what it is. I remember going into I lived in the west part of town. These young guys bought this bistro. I lived in an area called Discovery Ridge. They bought this little bistro, and everybody hung out there. And these were like young entrepreneurs. We're like, hey, that's great. This is what we need here, and this is what we like. And I came in there one day, and it's packed. And these kids who own it, they have basketball on everywhere, and their computers, and people are getting angry.
Yeah.
And I came out and I was like, hey, boys, know your fucking audience, man. And I was like, there's a Flames game on.
Yeah.
Put the Flames game on. And they were like, we're footballers. And I said, you guys are the owners. Your patrons don't want to watch basketball.
Yeah.
They put it on, and then everybody was like, just is what it is.
Yeah.
I'm not saying people don't like basketball here, but
I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
Right.
I've been trying to make sense of it since I was here in April.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's cool. But even last night, like, I grew up in Minnesota, and the Vikings were playing.
Sure.
It's a big game against Detroit, playoff seating.
Yeah.
And half the TVs at Pig and Duke were.
Oh, we at the Duke?
Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I went grab some food, but like half the TVs were still some hockey game that I can't imagine matters that much right now.
No, yeah, I wouldn't mean anything. They're just, people are, I don't know, it's like in the blood here. I don't know how to describe it. Winter, I guess, but I mean, winter in Minnesota, there's no, football's first, obviously.
Sure, at least in the fall.
In the fall. Well, you got the Gophers, right? Yeah. Huge.
When I used to drink.
You don't drink anymore?
No, I kind of lost my privileges, but.
You did? What happened?
Just started at a young age.
Yeah.
Like I'm originally from Vermont and moved around a bunch, but grew up in Minnesota. And, my grandpa, I started drinking young.
Sure.
Like 10 years old or something.
Oh, wow. Really young. I was like 13.
Not like crazy at that age.
You started.
I started, yeah. And I liked it from the beginning.
Okay.
There was never a point where I was like, oh, I don't like drinking.
You were palsies immediately.
I felt cool the first time I had a beer.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
I went to a Gophers game one time when I was 14.
Yeah.
First Gopher hockey game I ever went to. And I had just really started drinking, like you were talking about when you were 13, like that. You're kind of experimenting. And I had a water bottle of, like an Aquafina bottle, and up to the label it was just 151. And I just chugged it.
Oh, yeah, blackout.
On the way to the game.
You blacked out.
I just time traveled, right?
Yeah.
So it's like the whole way there, I remember like lights, shit like that.
Yeah.
But then we get to the game, and I'm with 3 friends. Like, I invited them. Yeah. I had the tickets. And like,
you're the host again.
Yeah, I blacked out on the way to the game.
Sure.
And I fell asleep on the guy next to me at the game. And I came to and I looked at him, and he was like, it's okay. Like, he knew.
You're okay, pal. Yeah.
But I went up into the bathroom, and I had eaten Subway or something before. I blew chunks in the trough at the game.
Do they still have those troughs? I wonder. Some old barns they do. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. I mean, there were like 10 full adult penises to my right, and I'm just
just blasting in there.
And I think all of them were laughing, right? Like they knew it was up or whatever.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was your intro. You're like, I like this.
Yeah. It was. I just was pissed because I missed the whole game,
Yeah.
And
then you never did it again.
I never drank again. That was the last.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah, I started boozing early too. But it was, not 10 like that. Yeah, that is insane. Mine was a byproduct of hockey, not to blame hockey, but I ended up playing junior when I was 14.
Oh, wow.
And so
how does that, can you explain the juniors thing to me?
Sure. Yeah, so junior, actually, I feel like someone was asking me this over the holidays, one of our family members, they didn't understand. So junior in Canada is really 16 to 21. That's your junior age years. They have midget. I think you can still call it midget. I don't know. Midget AAA, little people AAA. And you play midget, or you can play junior if you're good enough at a young age. But they had the World Junior. So, of the World Junior tournaments, like the States and Canada play every Christmas.
I've heard the title, but not as dialed in on that.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so World Juniors is like a big one every Christmas. It's all the best junior players. You play junior, like, thinking about where you live. Well, Everett has a junior team, Tacoma Rockets. So that's junior. You play that, and the hope is you get drafted to the NHL, and you're essentially 15 or 16 to 21. That's your age. But they have a new rule that if you're 14, some kids are good enough at 14, but they call it an exceptional player status.
Yeah.
Everybody has to agree that this kid is mature enough to play. But when I just kind of went out for exposure and then ended up playing as a 14-year-old, I'm on the bus with 21-year-olds. So, of course, you're crushing beers and learning how to chew and do all the things that you should.
Sure.
Right.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so now
what are the silver tips? That's like...
Yeah, that's major junior. That's like WHL. So Western Hockey League.
Yeah.
Ontario Hockey League, Quebec Major Junior Hockey League.
So you do that prior to going to college?
Well, no, that's a good question. They kind of, before you had to decide, I'm going to play junior and I'm going to stay playing junior, or I'm not going to the NHL, I better go to college, right? You kind of you used to forego the school route. I'm going to stay in junior and hopefully I go to the show, and then a lot of guys end up not making it, and then you go work.
Yeah.
Right? Kind of like, well, I ended up, or you go to school after junior and you go to school late. I went to university as a 21-year-old.
Yeah.
Right?
What was that like?
Oh, it was a blast. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
Then we come down and play teams in the States.
Being a 21-year-old freshman.
And now they're all like 18. So as a dude, it was fine.
It was
fine.
You're married?
Yeah, I'm married. Yeah, happily married. No, definitely not married at the time. Yeah, 21, and you're like a little celebrity on campus.
Yeah, and you're yoked from being in hockey shape.
That's right. Yeah, Jack. Don't have to worry. Eat what you want, drink what you want, and you're on the ice every day. Yeah,
it's wild. Man.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So then we would actually go down and play NCAA teams in like exhibition tournaments. I think I talked about it with Volpatti even. Or maybe it was Ken Reed. Anyway, we would go down and play Harvard and Brown, and we would lay the boots to these kids. And no disrespect.
Sure.
We're just older.
Yeah.
They're 18, and we had guys who were 25. So all we had to do was like, take the body. Just take the body.
Yeah.
And we'd take over the game, right? It wasn't really fair.
Just grown men.
Men beating up on kids, right? It kind of wasn't fair. Now you can, but now they're saying you can cross over. Kids can play major junior and still get a scholarship. And you weren't allowed before. Now they can go and play college kind of in their junior years.
It seems...
If you want. It's kind of weird, right?
Well, it just seems like stupid to not let them go to college.
For sure. Yeah. Looking back, it's ridiculous.
It like dissuades people from pursuing education.
You're like, no. We want to keep you as dumb as possible.
And then we want you, if it doesn't work out, throw you into the workforce.
Throw you into the work and then have a good factory life.
Exactly.
Or start up your stand-up
What'd you
comedy.
do after your career?
After, geez, I stopped. I was playing down in, actually, Wichita was my last run. And then I came right to Calgary and I started working at a fitness depot. It was like a summer job. It like sold fitness equipment. And then I ended up in the oil patch for the last 20 years, basically.
What do you do?
I sell like drilling rigs, and right now I sell, it's called directional tooling, downhole tooling. Like you drill directionally for people down in their wells. Anyway, to keep it simple.
Is oil like the number one industry in
Canada?
Yeah.
It is.
Politics. seems
Not
be
to go
pretty
politics, they don't want to. They don't want to admit it, but it's like the largest contributor to our GDP for sure. Oil and gas, yeah.
Is gold too, though?
Yeah, there's, you know what, Saskatchewan's sitting on all the abundance of resources. Right? They're like diamond, gold, uranium, potash, lithium. They're drilling for geothermal. Like there's all kinds of resources. You just need to unleash it and make hay,
Sure.
Yeah.
Why is your dollar so shitty right now?
You got to be,
here, dude. It's getting worse and worse.
it's the worst it's ever been.
Yeah.
I without fact
I'm
checking.
not excited about getting paid.
It's
this
fucking.
week. It's like
Here's your little wooden nickels.
chilling.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's they were saying the dollar spiked since Trudeau announced his resignation. They were saying it probably went up half a cent or something.
Exactly.
I don't know. It's crazy. Well, but speaking of your getting paid, so how does the circuit work? And do you work? Do you still work and stand up? Or can you make a living at it yet? Or
Yeah. It's everybody's sort of different. So it's
Okay.
It's not. I mean, some people like have podcasts like this. They
Yeah.
monetize that podcast,
Yeah.
and they do the road, and maybe they're not even doing that much stand up, but it's like a public appearance or whatever. So there's all different routes of how you monetize the thing. I'm kind of in a space where like I don't have credits. I am working towards getting those opportunities. I'm doing some festivals later this year, the San Francisco Comedy Competition,
nice.
Great American Comedy Festival in Nebraska.
Mhm.
So working towards that stuff, but in the meantime, I'm like grinding.
I was gonna say you're grinding. You're in the grind.
And it's where I need to be. I say that like full honestly. It's I'm getting better. I'm working at it every day.
Yeah.
You don't really get better at this without experience, and it's to go up in front of places, in front of people that you've never been in front of, and do 45 to an hour like that it's
a lot.
challenging.
Sure.
These are the types of environments where I can grow and learn and kind of have people behind me supporting that.
Yeah.
I'm doing a bunch of shows at prisons this year.
Really?
Yeah, Department of Corrections, and that should be.
Well, I guess they would need, some kind of,
Yeah.
I don't
Almost
know.
every response is like that. Where they're like, "Oh,
Yeah, they need some
that
laughs.
makes sense." Yeah.
Right? Not be so angry all the time. Or
There's a lot of
sad.
restrictions of like, "Hey, we don't want you to do this, this, and this."
You can't talk about certain things. Probably.
Yeah, like and obvious things. Like they're like, "We don't want you to bring up like,
Breaking and
racial
entering
stuff,
and
yeah, like just specific things about race or
right.
anything that's gonna fire people up."
Yeah.
I'm trying to just get the experience that I can.
Mhm.
It's been a lot of fun. Last year I hit some limits where, just 16 hours behind the wheel of a car in a day.
It's a lot.
It's just stupid too. I'm 35. If I was 25,
No problem. Yeah, go. Head down, go.
and stuff and doing all that might be a little bit different. But
Yeah.
I got to find a balance there a little bit, and
Sure.
so I'm doing things slightly differently this next year, but having fun, trying to keep things fresh too, because it's definitely a grind at times.
Do they? So you mentioned I don't want to give any secrets away or anything on how the circuit works, but do they cover, like, they cover your accommodations? Do they cover your travel, and then they pay you to headline, or like how does that all work? Or is it? I'm sure it varies from.
Yeah, it's
right?
it's case by case basis.
Yeah.
So I mean, for like a road comic, their best case scenario would be 52 weekends out of the year they're booked and they're working, right?
Yeah.
Because they're getting paid to do their stand up, and then usually accommodations are provided or whatever. But that's 52 weeks of the year that you're gone. So it's a sort of double-edged sword where you're like, the more I work, the more money I make, but the less I have to draw from, the less
Yes.
And you see these usually it's dudes, like just the guys that have been out way too long.
Yeah.
You can see it in their face. Like, it's just sort of, they're broken.
They're broken.
Like,
They're just grinding, same thing, Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
And probably just, it's got to be some unhealthy habits on the road too, I'm sure, from eating to drinking to chasing, like everything.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
And, I don't want to be that.
No.
I love stand-up. I love doing stand-up, but I also, I don't need it to be everything in my life. It used to sort of be that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to have fun doing it. Like, that was the whole, if I wanted a fucking job.
Yeah, you go get a job.
Get a job.
Sure.
I did that for a long time. And this type of stuff's fun. Coming to different places is fun.
Yeah.
It was 0 last night Fahrenheit, and I had to walk like a mile basically with all my luggage.
Oh shit. Yeah.
That was there are moments like that where I'm like, what the I'm 35 years old.
Yeah.
I'm a grown ass man. I'm walking around in snowbanks like and I had a good job, dude.
Right.
I had a job probably similar to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Like, I was comfortable.
You liked it. Yeah.
It was just like, how much do I want to go out on a weekly basis?
Gotta take your chance.
Yeah.
You have to take your chance. And you're really good. I love your stuff. You're hilarious. I think you're super fucking talented. And so you have to take, you gotta go.
Yeah.
You gotta go. So I was gonna ask you how those competitions you said, do you have to get invited, or do you gotta submit to competitions, or?
Sorry. I smoke cigarettes every once in a while.
Apparently.
In the morning after.
Yeah.
Each one's different.
Okay.
For San Francisco, like, that was the one Robin Williams won.
Yeah.
That kind of propelled the start of his career.
Yeah.
And, Dane Cook was in it. And,
yeah.
That one I got asked to do it based off of performing in the other one.
Yeah.
So got very lucky. You submit to almost anything like that, and most of the time you don't hear shit.
Sure. Oh, I can imagine. A lot of no's.
Getting through the no's is, I don't know if you do sales.
Sales. I'm in sales. Yeah. So you used to it.
You get very used to it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get the yes, it's like, it's awesome.
Go time.
There is a thing that I'm like kind of working to get more comfortable with, is just like, I don't think that there's like this one defining moment that's gonna like
catapult you.
Yeah, I've arrived or some shit like that. I think it's incremental.
Yeah.
But in those bigger moments, it feels like, oh, this is what this needs to be. Or I don't think people are really as dialed into that stuff. As much as I want them to be.
Right. Yeah.
It's
more your body of work and
yeah,
honing your craft.
Not being an asshole.
Yeah.
Who you know.
The business part, I listened to a couple of your others. You're talking about the business side and schmoozing and all that kind of shit. Right?
Yeah. And probably the longer I've done it, the less I've done of that, because it's just, I want to be around people that I fuck with, that I trust, that I know, like, they're with me not for the self-interested reasons, but just because we're friends. And I think that goes further in all aspects of life. Like, entertainment is a bad industry.
I can only imagine. I have no clue. It's got to be filthy.
I don't know what pro sports kind of looks like when people, just behind closed doors doing shady stuff, but there's just a lot. There's no real governing of this stuff. Like most other industries, there's these
some type of
infrastructure that prevents certain behavior, and like you're only as good as the last weekend you did, and you know, people, there's substance abuse stuff that happens.
Oh yeah,
you know,
I would imagine
just all kinds of whatever it was in the 80s. Those people were having a good time,
and they were hilarious because they were whacked.
They were having a lot of fucking fun, and you know, it's definitely the whole like clips and social media and all that shit. Like it's changed.
That's big now, right? You got to get your clips out there, and you don't know what the hell's gonna hit.
I'm miles behind on that. I'm a little. I guess it's sort of inside baseball stuff, but I'm a little, I don't necessarily buy into that philosophy. Like, I saw somebody post recently, like, hey, if you have people come out to a show and they've seen the jokes that you've already done, are you noticing that they're not reacting as much to those jokes?
Right.
It's like, yeah, because they've heard the jokes before.
They've heard it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so you put all your material out there. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that because, sure, you want you post it, however many followers you get, and okay, that's great, I'm growing my following, and then you go to do a set and you're regurgitating all the same shit.
Yeah, and I'm at a place, like, full disclosure, like, I need that material still. I'm building that material. It continues to grow.
Yeah.
I'm developing, so, like, it's going to be some of the same stuff that I have online.
Sure.
And as I started hitting against that, I was like, dude, this is unhealthy of, like, just this constant pressure of like fucking
get your clips out,
new stuff, and like I don't live in New York. I don't have the time to go up 10 times a night, or I don't have the opportunity to get up on stage 10 times a night and generate that much material. So I have to be honest with myself and like, maybe I'm missing the wave of, you know, TikTok comedy, but
probably not. I feel like I'm thinking about almost the attack that has been on comedy for a little while, like the bit of canceling and you can't make certain jokes. I feel like it's going to swing. I think people want to be made fun of again. And so I feel like that part is swinging, I hope.
Oh, for sure.
Right? People want to get made fun of.
Yeah.
That's why we go to acts. Like, I think. I don't know.
It just is always moving, I think.
Yeah.
And right now, the stuff's on social media, but previously it was like MySpace, you know, all these other, like Dane Cook made his name by being the #1 comic on MySpace.
Yeah.
So
he used
technology in this always intertwines, but I don't know, man. I'm not trying to get like super, I know this podcast is going to just, this is going to be my moment.
This is going to blow you up, man. We're going viral for sure.
But I mean, if that happens, great. But
you can't expect it.
Sort of just the chiseling away, and maybe that's an excuse for not doing some of that work. But I didn't get into this to be a videographer. No offense. I wanted to do stand up.
Yeah.
I did a podcast for a while, did a decent amount of writing. I would like to do more writing.
Yeah.
But I don't fucking want to be a video editor. I don't want to be all that stuff. And there's a lot of people that hear that and are like, well, you're just not going to be successful. Maybe they're right. I don't know. But I don't know how to be funny, a videographer, podcaster, a writer.
Hashtagger.
Just everything, man.
Yeah.
The
world's changed in that front. Social media has just fucking changed everything.
It sucks, man.
Yeah.
I'm curious, in the States at least, TikTok's going to get shut down.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
And that'll be interesting to see how things happen.
Yeah.
The outlash is going to be entertaining.
Well, you're going to have all the kids are going to, their minds are going to explode. Yeah. Right? Well, think how many people are making money of just dancing and doing all that mindless shit that we look at.
I haven't looked at the actual like lawsuit that's driving it.
I mean, either.
But I think it has something to do with like import, because you can just buy like pistachio chocolate from Dubai on TikTok right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if they're not paying import tax or something like that.
Right. Yeah, there's got to be all kinds of loopholes. And
it's like, here's a gun from Afghanistan.
Sweet. Right to my door.
It's awesome. Nuts, but I don't know who's leading the charge on that, but then also like I know they're taking a lot of our information, like Biden. It's just
it sounds like that's
all of that.
What's driving it is it's foreign entity tracking us, or I mean, they already do that anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, with the changes that you announced this morning and everything.
Well, maybe we won't be as censored.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like our censorship here in Canada, barely. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
It does seem like I can't get a good read on Calgary of like politically where people are at.
You can't?
No, it seems kind of divided actually.
Yeah, it's probably fair. I think it's more, definitely swings more conservative. Traditionally, every federal election, it's like everybody's, it's usually, here it's the opposite. So conservatives is blue, right? Because there would be, Republican would be,
I
right?
didn't know this.
I don't even know. I don't know. It typically swings where it's pretty heavy conservative in the West, and it's traditionally been more liberal in the East, or Democrat and conservative. So it's heavy, tends to be more conservative out this way for sure.
Even to like Western Canada?
All of Western Canada is traditionally conservative.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Squamish, all
More
that
so.
shit?
Yeah. Like if you go deeper, like interior, like Vancouver, they would be definitely liberal.
Okay.
Heavy liberal, or NDP, they call it. It's like a 3-party. Yeah, but then, yeah, all the West, really, from like exterior BC to like Manitoba has been conservative.
Even, like Victoria too?
No,
Yeah.
not Victoria.
Yeah, I went there and that just seemed like a
That was like
crazy.
hippie central out there.
I didn't know what to make sense of that place. I felt like I went to London in Canada for like 15 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Very yuppie too. Like,
super yuppie.
Yeah.
A lot of Birkenstocks. And
nice though.
it's unreal.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just can't afford to fucking live out there.
No.
Nobody
that's-
can.
I mean, you need like a yacht and
Oh, yeah. That's where people go to retire.
yeah. Yeah.
Hipster tight jeans.
Mm-hmm. You should go.
I think I'm gonna. I look like a hipster. This duster. I look like as redneck as it gets with this fucking thing. But my daughter loves it too. Like,
V for Vendetta.
yeah. I've had buddies tell me I got to get rid of the tickler.
The tickler's the V for Vendetta.
V for Vendetta.
I was looking at it earlier today. I was like,
It's fairly newish. It's only like 4 or 5 years, this whole get up. But my daughter will not let me. She only knows me with this. She's 7.
Yeah.
She only knows me with this. So
you got to come home with it like fully shaved.
if I do, she'll lose her mind.
I'm jealous, man. I can't grow shit.
Oh, no?
No, it just comes in like pubes on my face.
Well, that's how my beard is. That's how I ended up with this. I tried to go beard, and it's just like, and I was even reading about it on how to grow a beard because mine was like super patchy and shitty.
Yeah,
And they were saying, just fight through the really hard times and let it grow over these patches. And it is the worst beard in the history, but I can grow a goat. That's it.
all I can do is like a knob right here, and it comes in red. It looks ridiculous.
Oh, you got to grow that out.
No,
Probably be good for your stand-up.
it's horrendous. It's horrible.
Yeah.
I look like Guy Fieri or something.
Chef, right?
yeah.
Pitmaster. All right, so just tell me about your tour, and then maybe we'll wrap it up. So what's your tour look like this time? Do you fly back home? How many venues are you hitting? All that stuff.
Yeah. And before I say that, just thank you for having me on. Thanks, Victor, for letting us do this too. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, love it, man.
And this was fun. So I'm at Comedy Cave Monday through Saturday.
Yeah.
Tickets are at comedycave.com.
Yeah.
Or whatever, CA. Whatever it is.
I think it's CA.
Yeah.
They'll figure it out. Yeah.
And discount code Adam33 for 33% off. And I think I'll be in Port Coquitlam. Is that how you say it?
Coquitlam? Yeah.
In February the 17th or the 18th at Taillight Brewing.
Okay.
So I'll be there with my buddy Quinn Fitzgerald, and that's the extent of the stuff I have in Canada for so far.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's January 6th.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll have
It'll-
I'm sure I'll end up back here, but I'm on Instagram. That's probably the best place to see my dates. There's a link tree there, but Adam Tiller.
Mhm.
And yeah, check me out. I'm on YouTube too. So.
Yeah. Yeah. You got a YouTube page. I follow you there. Good stuff. Yeah. Give them a follow, folks. Get out to the Comedy Cave this week, and maybe we'll see you again in your travels, and you'll be a big viral star. And because of this episode, number 26,
Yeah.
it's going to blow the fuck up.
I hope so. I don't want to do all that work.
No. Okay, buddy.
Thank you.
Stay warm out there.